In this video, we're going to be talking about the Reolink Duo2 camera. And I'm going to tell you how you can get it integrated with Home Assistant so that you can view the live feed from your dashboard and even trigger automations using its sensors. And of course, whether or not all of that makes it worth adding to your smart home. So stick around because we're about to automate some boring stuff. Welcome back to SlackerLabs. My name is Jeff. If you can tell from the sound of my voice, I'm getting over a recent cold, but hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. In full disclosure, Reolink did send this camera to me in exchange for my thoughts, but they had no influence over the content of this video, and what follows will be my opinion. But for a long time, I've been a fan of Reolink cameras because you can integrate them with Home Assistant over your local network. If you want to record video locally, you can connect these cameras to an NVR, or you can use an SD card in the camera itself. I've been using the original Duo for some time, and the Duo 2 is a nice upgrade. In the box, you get some hardware, a really short Ethernet cable, a mounting bracket, and of course, the Duo 2. This is a dual lens 180-degree panorama camera. It sports 4K Ultra HD, and in this version, power over Ethernet. Like the original Duo, you get two-way audio and color night vision, as well as the ability to use a local SD card for video storage. Installation is easy. You simply mount the included bracket, attach the arm, and then mount the camera to the arm. And you can mount the arm either on the top or the bottom of the camera to give you maximum placement flexibility. Then once you have it mounted and connected to your Ethernet, you can open up the Reolink app. Since we're going to connect this to Home Assistant, we're going to need it connected to an account. You'll want to create an admin account to manage this camera. Then provide a name for your device. I've already installed an SD card in the camera, so I went ahead and formatted it. And since this is the power over Ethernet version, I don't need to supply any network information. The app will give you a QR code that you simply put in front of the camera, and then the camera will get all connected and ready to go. The original Reolink Duo had a 150-degree field of view, so the Duo 2 has a little wider field of view, and this is what the difference looks like. This is the view from my original Duo camera. And after swapping it out, the view looks like this. I think that alone is pretty impressive, and maybe even more so because you can't see where the two lenses meet. And in the Duo 2, it's provided as a single feed, whereas in the previous Duo, it was two different feeds that got merged together. The Duo 2 does come with the same object detection as we had in the original Duo, and it can detect cars and people. And now there's also an included pet detection that's in beta. But I rarely use the camera apps with these cameras, so we need to get it integrated with Home Assistant. Now, that's not to knock the Reolink app, which I think is pretty good, and I do use it from time to time if I need to get video off of this camera. But my main day-to-day interaction with this camera is through Home Assistant. To get this integrated with Home Assistant, we're going to use an integration from the Home Assistant Community Store. This integration allows you to connect to this camera over the local network and provides access to the sensors inside of Home Assistant. I'll make sure I drop a link to that integration in the description of this video, as well as to any previous videos on installing that integration. But if you're familiar with installing HACS integrations in Home Assistant, it's pretty easy. And one of the things I like to do with these cameras is set up a separate admin account for managing these cameras inside of Home Assistant. And you can do that in the Reolink app. Just head to Camera Settings, choose Advanced, then choose User Management. Under Admin, just click Add User, then create a username and password. Usernames are case sensitive, so consider that. And then we do need to make sure that the camera's ports are open. So open a browser and head to the IP address of your camera. If you don't know the IP, you can find it in the Reolink app under your camera's device info. And then under Network. With the IP, just drop it in the browser. To log in, use any of the admin accounts you created. Once logged in, click the cog in the upper right, then head to the network settings, and here you'll want to click Advanced to expand the choices. Then we want to click Setup under Ports. I like to turn on the HTTP as well as RTSP since we may want to use ONVIF as well. If needed, you can change the ports, but I always leave them as the defaults. Now, an important detail. Do not turn on these ports if they're open on your router. In other words, you want to make sure that you can't reach this camera directly from outside your home. Anyway, once these settings are enabled, hit Save. Now we can head over to Home Assistant Integrations. Here we're going to click Add and choose Reolink. Enter your camera's IP. I usually change this port to 80 and disable HTTPS, and then enter the admin account I created for this, and it should connect to your camera and prompt you to choose the area. And now we have a new Reolink camera and can see its motion sensors as well as some of the other settings. It may take a while for this to sync up, but you should see these sensors eventually switch from unavailable to clear. One other caveat. The integration says that the motion sensors will only work if your Home Assistant is accessible on HTTP. So if you're using HTTPS to access your Home Assistant instance inside your home, you'll want to set up a proxy. This is a little more in depth, but I'll leave some links to some resources that can help you with that. Now, the only thing I've found weird with the Duo 2 versus the original Duo is that the camera feed doesn't appear to work using this integration. I really haven't tried to figure out why that is, so it's very possible that I have a weird setting somewhere that's preventing that. But in the end, it really doesn't matter because we can use the OnVIF integration to get us that live feed. And of course, if you're not interested in all of those sensors and the ability to change the settings inside of Home Assistant, you can just use the OnVIF integration from the start and don't need to use that Reolink integration from the Home Assistant community store. To set up OnVIF, we need to head back to the integrations panel inside of Home Assistant. In the integrations panel, just click Add and choose OnVIF. You're going to need the IP and the login we used before, but then once connected, you'll have an entity with the live feed. From there, you could easily add it to your Lovelace dashboard using the picture glance card. I would suggest using Auto though instead of Live, just to reduce the resources being used on your dashboard, because you can always click the image to view the live feed. But if you have a tablet somewhere, you could easily display this live feed. Although in my tests, it does appear to stutter a bit. Personally, I don't use dashboards, so this isn't something I would use, and there may be better ways to set this up. But at least now you have the ability to have a live feed on your dashboard if that's something you want. But in this house, we focus more on automations. So before we get into the automations, I think it's important just to check again at what exactly we get with this camera inside of Home Assistant using this Reolink integration from the Home Assistant community store. As you can see here, we've got 4 different motion sensors. We have a general motion sensor that triggers anytime there's motion. Then there's one for a person detected, for a pet detected, and a vehicle detected. And if any one of those are detected when motion's detected, those will turn on. Strangely enough, though, when, say, there's motion and not one of these are detected, then they go to unavailable, which I think is a weird state, but for now, that's kind of what it is, and that's fine. I just need to know when it goes from clear to detected. But because we have these different sensors here, we can really dial in our automations, and in my case, I'm just interested in that person detected. So let's flip over to my automations in the YAML so we can walk through an automation that uses this person detected sensor. So in my setup currently, this automation is in my automations.yaml file, and it's a basic security motion notification automation, so it includes triggers for other situations. I have a Ring doorbell, and so I have that sensor in here as well so that I know when there's actual motion on the porch. I'm using that general front porch motion sensor to tell me when there's motion just on the front yard, and then of course when there's a person. And because I don't want these firing all the time, I have 2 input booleans that handle different parts of my security system. So I have this barn door protocol that essentially just puts the state in not really a secure state, but it improves some of the notifications. So if barn door protocol is on, then I get notifications from any of these triggers. Likewise, if the sentry mode is on, which gets turned on when we leave or during the night, then I get notifications for those as well. But there are times in which I don't really need the doors secure because we're going to be going in and out, but I do want to know when things are happening around the house. And so that's why the barn door protocol exists. And we have this or condition here so that if either one of those are on, this automation will fire. And of course, like most of my automations, I'm a big fan of the choose action to help define some of the logic inside of the automation and to reduce the number of automations I need. So each one of these has an ID so that I can fine tune that action down in the action section with the choose action. So down in the choose action right now, it's really simple. We've got the first one, which is the condition. If there's a front yard person detected, then it simply sends a message to my phone that says people are detected in the front yard. Likewise, if there's motion on the porch, we send a notification that there's motion on the porch. Now, I expect that I'll expand this further in the future, but for now, we're kind of just in a testing phase. I want to see how well this works and how noisy it's going to be when they're on before I start doing things like having Jarvis announce that there's motion or doing other actions like turn the front porch lights on and stuff like that. And that's it. It's really simple. And those sensors inside of that integration allow you to really do some more direct automations based on those actions. You could also connect the feed up to a object detection system like Dudes or one of those maybe built into Frigate or something like that. And that would allow you to do those types of notifications as well. But since Reolink provides it inside their camera and it's accessible through this integration, I figure why not use that and save some of the resources on this Home Assistant instance for other things instead of having to run object detection. And so far it seems to be working pretty good. I haven't got any false positives with the people detection yet, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So now that you know how to get this camera integrated with Home Assistant and how to automate it, let's talk about whether or not this camera is right for you. The big question I started with is whether or not this Reolink Duo2 was a worthy upgrade to the original Duo. And the answer to that question is maybe. It really depends on whether or not you need that extra field of view. The single video feed that you get with the Duo2, as well as the seamless integration with the two lenses, is really nice. But would I go out and buy this myself to replace a working Duo? Probably not. If I didn't already have a Reolink Duo and I was looking for an outdoor PoE camera with an extra wide field of view, this one would definitely be on the short list. I really like that I have access to the motion sensors on these cameras inside of Home Assistant. And not only that, it allows me to leverage Reolink's object detection so that I can trigger my automations only when a person is detected. Outside of that, I would have to handle object detection myself, which can be resource intensive. I haven't really tested pet detection in this camera, but I can tell you that people detection works pretty well. And in fact, in my tests, Kit picks me up rather quickly as I'm approaching the front door. But since the pet detection is in beta, I wouldn't trust it to be accurate enough to trigger automations when, say, the dog was at the door. The vehicle detection works pretty well too, but since I have a road in front of my house that's pretty busy, it's constantly notifying me of vehicles, so I have that disabled. If you watched my previous videos on my Reolink cameras, you'll know that the vehicle detection isn't all that reliable in something like a driveway, because as long as there's a car in the field of view, it's going to notify you that it sees a vehicle. So it's best to use in an area where cars aren't going to be parked for long periods of time, which means perhaps that maybe the better case is to notify you when your car is gone. In any case, I can't really find much wrong with this camera. I do notice it's constantly picking up motion, and so it's always recording video, and on my SD card I really only get 5 days of recorded video. I haven't adjusted the motion sensitivity settings yet. Everything is set up as it was out of the box, so maybe adjusting those settings will help dial that in. Viewing the live feed inside of Home Assistant isn't all that smooth, but there could be other variables for that, and it really isn't a deal breaker for me since I don't use dashboards. And with these integrations, none of the recordings from this camera go to Home Assistant. So if you want to save any of your recorded video, you're going to need to use an NVR or the SD card inside of the camera. If you're interested in grabbing one of these Reolink Duo2 cameras, I'll leave affiliate links in the description of this video, as well as any discount codes I have. At the time of recording this video, the camera is currently listed for $159 on Amazon. But of course, prices fluctuate, so be sure you check the link for the most recent pricing. And for those of you that don't want a power over Ethernet version, there is a wireless version as well. Anyway, that's it for this one. A big thanks to Reolink for sending this camera to me to test and show off. And now all that's left for us to do is to go off and automate the boring stuff.